Hoochie Daddy shorts on.
Hell
Ready?
yeah, man. But like on what was it? Our album release date, man, February. We took some mushrooms, right?
Oh, man.
And cause like kind of like the whole year we've been on this like mushroom wave, bro. It started hitting us, and we had like this kind of release party. Like a friend of mine that has this club, a promoter. He said, "Yeah, come through." Like Dragonfly, whatever. I was like, cool. So we had made plans to go later that night. It was a Friday to like just kick it, But by the time I showered, man, that shit started kicking into overdrive. And I swear, bro, every time I go into my bathroom, bro, it's like some sort of time warp, dude. Like I come out in my towel, I look like a maniac. I come over here, I'm like running shark, like almost like I don't know if we're gonna go, dog. But like we just gave each other that look, like all right, cool. Like we need to go to the club to sober up. Oh, man. But man, we were on. We literally did. We showed up to the club to sober up because we were fucking tripping here. And then on his birthday too, that was even more. Talking about like melting. Like I was sitting in my fucking bathroom. I was sitting in there, dude. I could hear like. I'm sitting there like I could hear everything, like the water, like the in-betweens. So I'm over here having this moment of like, this is music. Like this is what we're trying to capture. Like all these sounds, vibrations. It was the craziest state, man. So anyways, man, thanks for being on the podcast, man.
Anytime, dude. Thanks for having me. It's always a good hang, man.
Straight up from 254.
Right?
Yeah,
Waco.
man. Same from Waco, man. So so just tell me a little bit about like growing up in Waco, your perspective. We went to the same high school.
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead, man.
It was dope, man. I love at the time growing up in Waco, I hated it. I was like, I can't wait to get out of here. This town fucking sucks. It's small. There's nothing to do. But then as you get older, you kind of find your little niche there. And so by the time I eventually left this past year, I almost missed it. I almost missed this place. But man, it was a trip. Growing up a white kid in South Waco.
You were the minority.
Dude, I remember in third grade, social studies, learning about minorities. And it said that it was Hispanics, African Americans. And I remember looking around my room like, no, they're not. And I remember looking at the textbook to see when it was written. I was like, this has to be an old textbook. That was a trip, man. Yeah, it was a trip.
So like, were you born and raised in like South Waco?
Dude, I was born in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Okay.
And then my family moved to Waco when I was 3. So it's the only thing I know. And we were always on that one house on James Street, South Waco, right by the Boys Club.
Oh shit! No
Yeah.
shit. Yeah, I'm on Cleveland between 17th and 18th Street.
Nice.
Right there in Cleveland.
All right.
Basically, my whole life on Cleveland.
Man.
Yeah, like even like when my parents moved when I was already in college, which like the house is still there. That's where my dad's at on Cleveland, and then the house that I had before I moved out here was on Cleveland also, and a bunch of my family, because I used to have a lot of family here in California in the area. I think from El Monte, which is I think maybe like 45 minutes from here. They moved, bro. I kid you not. Like my grandma and aunts, like it's like I guess it was like a rite of passage. The weirdest thing, but like everybody on Cleveland. Yeah, bro. Right. So 3 years old, South Waco. Tell me more about that.
Man, I was a real scared, real shy kid. So I think that's kind of what helped me become a comedian and stuff. All the awkwardness of growing up.
Was that something that you always like, or when did you have that like, I guess desire or passion to say like, this is what I want to do?
It wasn't until really high school when I was found like in elementary school or middle school when things got tough. If somebody tried to pick with me, I could get my way out of it by making them laugh. So I learned that early on, but I never put 2 and 2 together that was a occupation. Like that was just a coping mechanism at the time that's keeping me from getting my ass beat. And then in high school, I got real big into Saturday Night Live. Like every Saturday, if it was a new episode, I was at home watching Saturday Night Live.
So like, because I remember watching Mad TV, right?
Oh yeah.
So me and my brother, like, we actually preferred that because it felt like it was a little raunchy.
Yeah, a little more urban, right?
Yeah.
See, I'm a nerdy white kid, so Saturday Night Live was my joint.
For sure.
Yeah.
So
I did watch Mad TV though. That was
Will Sasso, that was one of my
Right.
favorite when he imitated Arnold Schwarzenegger and Kenny Rogers.
Oh
My
man,
name's Kenny Rogers.
classic man. They need another that was good. SNL
did.
had competition.
They did.
They need another show like that.
Did you ever do anything like, I guess, comedic wise growing up, like any sort of stand ups anywhere or anything like that?
Yeah, man. When I was 18, going to MCC, McLennan Community College. Shout out.
Shout out 13th grade.
Yeah, man. And every time I'd go home, I'd drive by. At the time, it was 101 Mill Street. It's been a number of things. There's always a bar right there on Elm Street or on Martin Luther King.
Yeah, okay.
And they were advertising comedy night. And so at 18, man, I was too scared to get up there on my own. And I was a big SNL fan, so I was like, let's do a sketch comedy group. That way I can have some friends up there with me, and I can still do comedy or whatever. So I talked the owner of 101 Mill Street to allow some 16 to 18-year-olds come into his bar and open at his comedy nights. He would let us open and then perform between acts.
Okay.
Yeah, so
How'd it go? How'd that go?
It was horrible, man. It was, sketch comedy. So it wasn't improv. Improv is where you get suggestions from the audience or whatever. You just come straight off the head. I wasn't that confident. So we would come up with pre-thought of ideas, and then we would just act them out on stage. Like SNL.
Yeah.
Man, it was so bad. It was so bad. We were good for the other comedians because we gave them something to make fun of. Man, that's the first thing they would do when they got on stage was roast us.
Would you all have like a crowd? Like,
yeah, so we were all young, high school. So our friends would come watch us, our family would come watch or whatever. So that made the bar owner happy because we were packing out the place. But
yeah.
it was horrible.
How long did you do that for?
We only did like 4 shows, and
Okay.
then I was like, no more.
Like, you just didn't want to do that anymore,
Yeah,
or
it's just so embarrassing. So embarrassing coming on stage knowing you did so bad. And so then I hung it up for years, and social media came along. So this is before social media. Damn, I'm old.
Yep.
Social media comes along, and I started doing comedy stuff on MySpace, Facebook. And I don't know if you remember You Monthly magazine. They were a local,
I think so. Yeah.
local multicultural magazine.
Mm.
I was friends with the owner and the editor on Facebook, and they actually reached out to me and said that I was funny. Could I come do stand up for their holiday party? So that's the first time I ever got up on stage by myself.
Damn. Where was that at? Like their business or
It was
something?
like
or-
they had rented one of those big houses on like Austin Avenue or
Okay.
something. Yeah, so it was there at their holiday party. I came up with just 5 minutes about being a white kid in South Waco. And so I get there and I'm so nervous. I get to the door and I walk back to my car. I was like, I can't do it. So I finally get the courage to go in there. I meet up with the people, and the first thing they say is, just don't tell any jokes about race. I was like, that's my whole 5 minutes. What am I going to do now?
Damn.
So I just did it anyway. I was like, what are they going to do? We got to do what I have ready to go.
How was
So
it received?
Luckily, it went pretty well. I'm sure it was horrible. I wish I had a recording of that, 'cause it had to be bad. First time, right?
So
Yeah,
like
it was
high
cool.
school, right? Like going to high school there in South Waco. I mean, so how was that? Like, was that any sort of like a different experience for you, or how did you perceive it?
Yeah, it was. So I was real scared. All going through elementary school, middle school was tough for me.
How
And,
so?
I feel like that's when, I don't know. It seemed like even to this day, I refuse. I'm teaching 6th grade right now, but I don't want to do 7th or 8th. Those kids scare me for some reason. They're just bad. They're just learning themselves. They're going through that. They have all the hormones. So I don't know. It was just rough for me in middle school. I did not like middle school, but then high school, everything flipped. I kind of started coming out of my shell, making more friends, getting more out there, and I loved high school, man.
Yeah?
High school was dope.
Were you like involved in a lot of things or events or just friends or things like that?
Yeah, I do any extracurricular activities at all. So I got to graduate high school a year early because of that.
Mm.
But no, I just hung out with different people from different cliques. I hung out with some jogs, hung out with some band people.
Were you there when LaDanian was
Yeah. He graduated a year before me. I graduated in '99. I believe he's '98.
How was that with him being in high school?
You had no idea. I mean, he was breaking records in high school, but it didn't seem like that big of a deal. Like, yeah, he's good,
You just
but
like,
he's a Trojan.
yeah.
And then, yeah, never expected what would become of his career to go to the NFL and break records in the NFL.
See, because when I got to high school as a freshman, I got to high school in '98,
Wow. Okay.
and so I guess he had just graduated,
All right.
and so everybody, and then me coming wanting to come in to play football, like everybody knew, like they already foresaw it, you know. So for us, like we used to love just putting his tapes, high school tapes, and just like it was crazy, you know. So like for us, he was like that missed him. It was like this. Like the hero, you know, like the urban hero,
Somebody
you know.
that came from where we came from made it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine. Hell yeah.
And then there, I mean, there were so many great athletes, man, that had opportunities. And I forgot who I was talking to, but I mean, you could probably see, like, we would always have people fell off. Like,
right.
it was a thing.
Yeah.
Sadly, but like you'd get to a certain point of like the grades, and it's like the team and the coaches would like have to prepare like. Most of the team's gonna fall off, you know,
Right.
and so, but what was your like take on like the academics there at University High School?
Oh man, I was in like AP and stuff, GT, but not. I mean, I like to think I'm a smart guy, but not just because I'm smart, because that was the safe place to be. That's where the good kids were. So I was always in those classes. So I didn't really. In electives like PE and stuff, you'd be in with general population, as I would call it, because I felt like prison sometimes.
Yeah.
But it was nuts. It was nuts. It was so many different things going on at the time. Late '90s.
What's one thing that stands out for you?
Man, let's see. So I want to say Columbine, but that would have happened right after I finished. So. And then David Koresh was in elementary school.
I actually have a memory of watching the news actually when they started like rating it.
When it started catching on fire or whatever?
Yeah, that was nuts.
For real.
Low key though, like I'm gonna be honest. That shit kind of bugs me when people are like, oh, David Koresh. I'm like, fuckers, like technically it wasn't in Waco.
It was Mount Carmel, right?
Yeah, get the fuck over it.
That's how I used to be. That's how I used to be until Waco got known for Chip and Joanna.
Oh.
And I'm like, nah, bring David Koresh back. We were the Branch Davidians, man.
Yo.
All this fixer-upper stuff, man.
I know, man. I was actually happy whenever Baylor athletically through football started doing really great.
It was nuts. Art Browse came in.
Like, I don't know if you ever paid attention, but I remember as a kid, bro, it's like they couldn't even give the tickets away.
For real.
Right? Like I remember going, I was like, oh man, I might have been somewhere around 10 to 12 range. I remember going into a Wendy's. They literally had
A stack
of tickets.
Yes, man.
And I had to double take because I was like, wait, these are tickets. Like they were just there and nobody would show up.
For real.
Nobody would show up.
I remember they would give us to us heavy in elementary school, trying to get us to go. Like, here's some tickets. But.
Yeah. Fast forward a little bit because I think I saw that then you eventually started doing some shows at True Love, right?
Yeah, so True Love was great. I just seen that they had a local comedian competition one day, and whoever won that, if I could speak, got to come to the next show and do a set. So I entered that and won that one, and then I was hooked after that. I did 2U monthly, and they were all right. They were scary. They were so far apart, couldn't really judge. But yeah, once I started finding True Love, and they had a monthly mic, I would go there every month.
Did you do anything like prior to True Love on a more consistent basis, or
No.
was it until that point?
Not until that point.
Mm.
Yeah.
So what was like the moment, I guess, for you to say, you know, I'm gonna move out here to Los Angeles to give this a shot?
Oh man, I've wanted to move out here since I was 17 years old. When I graduated high school. The plan was to move out here, join the Groundlings, and get on Saturday Night Live. And I had a buddy of mine that was into comedy. I was trying to talk him into coming out here, but he met a girl his senior year.
Always a fucking girl, huh?
Fell in
Fuck.
love. Couldn't talk him out of moving, and I was too scared to come out here by myself.
Damn.
So life starts happening. I meet my son's mother at 20. and she gets pregnant. And so I was like, man, I gotta be responsible. I gotta pay the bills, raise this kid right. And so that was just my focus for the next 18 years. After that, he finally graduated high school. I've been trying to talk him to come out here for so many years. I was like, man, he wanted to graduate with his friends.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you're not gonna see these people. They're very much like, no offense, but I don't keep in contact with a lot of high school people. You just don't. Like, life happens. So I was like, man,
yeah,
it's cool that you want to graduate with them, but come on. But I was like, all right, I'll let him graduate there. And then as soon as he graduated, I was like, I'm moving to California. You can come if you want to. And he's like, I'm down. Let's go. And I was like, why can't we do this earlier?
So how has he adapted? Because it's almost a year now, right? That you've been out here.
Yeah. So August 1st will be a year. I'm still trying to get him out there, get him working. I think that'll help a lot. For the most part, he's just at home, a homebody. Doesn't know how a lot of people out here. Every once in a while, he'll go to a concert or something, but not a lot. So I'm hoping that he gets a job, starts going to school out here, making friends. You know.
How was the move as far as once you settled in? How was all of that for you here?
Man, it was tough. I moved out here without a job and no place to live. I kept applying before I moved out here, and I never heard anything back. And I don't know if it was because of my Waco address or my out of town area code. They were probably thinking, "Why is this idiot applying? Does he know this isn't Waco? Like, we're not even going to call him." So it's like, all right, once I get out here, I'll get my feet on the ground. It'll be easier to get a job then. Nope, it still wasn't, man. I got here in August. I did hotel to hotel because the whole thing was I wanted to find my job first. Once I found where I was going to be working, I was wanting to live close to that because I've heard all these horror stories about the commutes.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to drive an hour each way, so I just kept doing hotel. That was rough. I get to real quick. Just hotel room. And then we finally did a month long at in the fashion district. That was an experience. There.
Yeah.
Skid Row adjacent.
I mean, it's changed a lot now, even now,
Really?
Downtown. But when I first moved here, because everybody thinks like, oh, you want to live in Hollywood or you want to live in downtown LA, and like, no, no, you don't. No, you don't. So
Without money.
right? Yeah, for sure. Not unless you're in the hills. Yeah, for sure, man. So how long did it take you to land your first gig from when you first moved out here?
As far as a regular gig?
Just any gig?
Yeah, so it took me, I moved out here August, September, I wasn't trying to teach. That was always the backup plan if nothing else worked. So in September I started applying at schools, and there's such a teacher shortage. I felt like the belle of the ball. I had like 6 schools trying to hire me. So I just went with the one that paid the most, to be honest with you. I was like, I'm going with you. And it happened to be in Compton. So
how is teaching like? Because bro, sometimes like I feel like I'll get this self-awareness, like I don't like, it's like you don't feel your age kind of thing, right? So it's like you're constantly around these kids.
Yeah.
Like, how's that? Like, how's that for you?
And they do make me feel old because I'm always thinking like these kids these days, like, we were not like this. They're on a whole nother level. But they also, they keep me young because I'm always learning new slang, and always listening to the music they're listening to. They're messing up my Spotify algorithm though. They're tearing that up.
How so?
NBA young boy is coming up on my suggested. Now I'm like, why? That's not for me, man. That's not for me.
Hell yeah. I had another question. Yeah, so you said as far as like comedy, when did you land like your first like comedy show out here?
So I hear, man, I was so worried about being able to pay the bills. I put that on the back burner. I said, I got to find a job first. So I didn't do any stand-up until October.
Okay.
So I was out here 2 months before I did anything. And then I just found one of these, what's called a slotted mic. It's a pay to play. You pay $5, you get 5 minutes. It's you and 9 other comedians in a small ass room.
No.
Nobody's laughing.
Damn.
It's brutal, man. It's brutal.
So have you had like a terrible gig out here yet?
Oh man, let's see. Where did I do? I did real bad not too long ago. not too long ago. I had to take a week off after that. And I blocked it out. Where was it at? I don't even remember.
You're like, delete.
Yeah. It was bad. I did real bad at the improv not too long ago.
Mm.
It was on Wednesday they do a bucket draw. And usually the booker's not there on Wednesday. Usually the booker's there on Tuesday. On Wednesday it's just you and a bunch of comedians too. This time Rita from the improv decided to come in on a Wednesday. And of course I had to go up. I'm like the end of the night too. So I'm like one of the last ones. By this time they've already seen 30 other comedians. So people are just tired of comedy at that point. And I go up behind, I don't know if you know Jay London. He's like a mini legend in stand-up. He's on Last Comic Stand and all kinds of stuff. But he went up before me, and he was struggling to get laughs. And I was like, what? Oh, man. And of course, Rita saw that. That's you rethinking your whole life at that point. Like, oh, man, what am I doing? But what are you going to do?
Do you ever use like any of the school stuff in your bits?
Like growing up,
like you being a teacher or like teaching like
you
that.
know, I want to, and I have some stuff, but I haven't dug in there heavy. I need to get on TikTok with that because I see so many teachers blowing up off of just filming crazy stuff that happens in the classroom.
Yeah,
I need to hop on that train, but no, I haven't, man.
I think you should. I think
Right.
that's an asset.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Cause yeah, there's definitely material there, man.
So what is I mean coming up on a year, man? Like what's your like assessment of Los Angeles so far?
You know, it was rough at the beginning, rough finding my niche, and then man, I was on Meetup, trying to meet people out here. I was doing UFO sightings, trying to meet people. Right? But once I finally started doing these mics, that's when I really, you know, got my little circle going. So now I'm loving it. I told myself I was going to stay out here a year, and then I'd reevaluate. Part of me wants to move because I've only lived in Waco my whole life.
Yeah.
And there's this whole big world out there to see.
Yeah, man.
So part of me wants to move somewhere. I'm just thinking Tokyo.
Oh shit.
Yeah, Hong Kong, something like that.
Why there?
From what I can tell, Japanese people are courteous as fuck, and I am too. So I feel like I'd fit in. But I love all their gadgets. I love their culture. I'm not super into anime. I'm sure it's surprising a white dude looks like this that's not into anime, right? But not into anime, but it does look like a cool place to live. And again, it's just wanting to get out there and explore.
Yeah.
Hong Kong, surprisingly, there's a burgeoning comedy scene there, English comedy scene in Hong Kong. Like a lot of people that haven't made it here are going over there and seeing some success. So it's got me curious. Want to check it out too. And again, China's fucking nuts. It would be nuts to live there.
You know, like that's one like area too. Like I'll always want to go to like
Right.
Japan and just experience that Asian culture. And,
Right.
Yeah, man.
They have fucking gadgets for everything. I watch these videos where these little kids come home from school and they make their own dinner and stuff. They have gadgets for
That's crazy.
everything, man. It's nuts.
So is that like something like you think realistically like that you would want to do here in the near future, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, that's tough. I thought for sure I'd be out here a year and I'd be bouncing to the next place, but now, like, man, I want to live here and maybe just go visit Tokyo and come back.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's another thing too. I don't really want to make any plans. I'm just gonna go with the flow, see what happens.
Yeah.
Spend so much of my life worrying and for nothing, right? Worrying.
You've gone through some tough things, right? You went through cancer?
Yeah, cancer twice.
Twice.
Yeah.
So when was the first time?
When I was 26, I got it the first time.
Was it just like how'd you find out? Was it just like a checkup, or were you not feeling well, or?
Oh man, so I had this lump grow on my testicle, and it wasn't nothing really. I went and got it checked out. The doctor I seen said it's too fat. It had grown too fast to be cancer. You don't have insurance. Get out of here. Finally, it got painful, so I had to get it taken care of, and it turned out it was cancerous. And by that point,
so he misdiagnosed you.
Misdiagnosed.
Wow.
At that point, it had spread up to my lymph nodes. So,
oh wow.
Yeah, should have caught it sooner. But that was tough. It was about 9 months of treatment, 2 surgeries, 14 rounds of chemotherapy. but it was the most curable form of cancer. So you don't really, death doesn't really enter your mind until I started going to these Livestrong events. And I started meeting friends and family members of people that didn't survive. That fucked with me hardcore. And these people were so much better than me. They were, one dude was a firefighter, you know, one dude had a bunch of kids and a family. And so I got survivor's guilt hardcore after I found that out. Like, I got a second chance and I'm squandering it. So it inspired me to get some stuff going for a little bit. But then, you know how life goes. You get back into the rat race, the 9 to 5, and you forget about it. The second cancer diagnosis, though, I was like, man.
So when did that one happen?
That was, man, it was on my 10-year anniversary.
So how long from the first diagnosis to the second was that?
It was 10 years. So I was bragging all year long. It's been 10 years since I kicked cancer's ass. And then in December, I find another lump. And I go to the doctor. And right before Christmas, I found out I had cancer again. I was like, oh, son of a bitch. Should have never bragged. I'll never talk shit about cancer again. I don't want to smoke.
Let me put it up.
Oh, okay.
So did you have to go through like the same process?
I caught it so early. It was just one surgery, and then that was it. I do scans every 3 months, then every 6 months. Now it's every year. So I'm due to do a scan out here in California for the first time to see what's happening. But it's another thing. I was, you worry. I used to worry about bills. There was a time when I only had pocket change to my name as a parent. And you're worrying about but it always works out. And all that worrying's for naught, man. Right.
Just stresses you out and like,
yeah, man. So that's why I'm a big, everything happens for a reason kick right now. And so that helps with any letdowns or something. It happened for a reason. I mean, that wasn't meant to be yet.
Would you find that gave you, I mean, I don't know, like that, I guess, helped you during those periods? Like, was there anything, like, whether it was your son or what helped you through those processes?
It was definitely my son, just having to try to make it for him. I've been raising him by myself since he was 4. And so I was like, man, if I take off, he's probably going to end up with one of his grandparents, which is fine. I mean, they're wonderful people, but it's not the same as having, somebody. I don't think anybody's going to look out for you as much as I would have. So that's the whole thing. It's like gotta stick around for him.
How did he take all of that?
He's a trooper, man. He was super helpful to this day. I couldn't have asked for a better son. I mean, to this day when I bring him food, he's like, every time he's like, "Thank you," and I'm like, I don't think he realizes I'm required to feed you, dude. I'll get in trouble if I don't feed you. But no, he's super appreciative, and he's good kid for sure.
That's awesome, man. I'm gonna put you on the spot. Tell me, give me like I was gonna say tell me a joke, but nah, like give me a bit real quick. What are you working on?
Oh, let's see, man.
Let's see what are you working on.
It's coming up with my set list for Me Out the Moon. Let's see what I can come up with here.
So where can people? By the way, you go by God, the comedian.
God, the comedian.
All right. So while you looked that up, why did you choose like that name?
So I needed a stage name because I'm a teacher and I'm always afraid that I'm going to get fired for some of the stuff I say on stage. So I was like, I need a stage name. And I came across this Voltaire quote. He says, God is a comedian that's playing to an audience that's too afraid to laugh. And so I was like, man, that's me when I'm not bombing.
Yeah.
People are just too afraid to laugh. So I looked it up. I was like, there's got to be a God the comedian out there already. And there wasn't. So I snatched up all the socials.
I think that's dope. That's a great name.
I saved it till I got out here. I was thinking, oh, this is LA and nobody will have a problem with that. But I'm surprised by the people that get offended.
Really?
Yeah. Hosts of shows will refuse to say my name. Or,
so what would they say?
It was like this Baca, this guy does shows all over town. He calls me G the comedian. And that's how he
That's crazy, right?
Right?
in a town that's like so fucking
Godless. Right?
yeah, and like they're offended by that.
Right.
It's so ironic.
And so speaking of, we're doing the show in a park.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna use that as like the real reason for my stage name's coming out. So if I use my government name, I wouldn't be allowed within 500 feet of this park. So that's I look like a sex offender joke if you didn't get it. Yeah. But I have jokes about moving out here and moving to South Central LA like a dummy. I was not thinking.
How was that like out there?
Oh man, I love it. So I grew up in South Waco. Grew up around the streets. South Waco is all in Beverly Hills heavy, and so that's what my neighborhood reminds me of Beverly Hills. It's all the uneven sidewalks, heavy Hispanic population. So I mean, I love it. My son, he grew up a more sheltered life, so this is kind of third world for him. He's like, "Where are we at, pops?"
Yeah, it's very interesting, isn't it? Like especially like because we're basically neighbors right there where we grew up, right?
Yeah.
So it's like it's no thing, all right?
Right.
It's like all right, this is where I grew up, you know.
My son, I moved him out to the mall. We always lived in West Waco his whole life, so it's funny. He said one day he's like, "Dad, something happened to me out here that would never happen back home." I was like, "What's that?" And he goes, "Some guy asked me if I was good." I was like, "Oh, he's trying to sell you drugs?" And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "That never happened to you back home?" Like,
For real.
Man, you live the sheltered life.
Right?
Remember the first time he seen a homeless dude's penis, he was shell shocked, man. He was so upset. And I was like, "You got to get used to that. It's going to happen a lot." This is LA, baby. Hollywood.
Yeah, the homeless take it to another level out here,
For
man.
real.
Crazy. And the crackheads,
Yeah, man.
man.
Just all out in the street, like not hiding it or nothing. Like,
Straight up.
yeah, hardcore.
Well, man, thanks for being on.
You too.
And tell everybody where they can, all your socials, where they can
Yeah.
find you.
God the Comedian and everything. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. So,
Hell yeah, man.
and I'm gonna start a show where I'm highlighting and calling around. Would love to have you on sometime.
Yep, count me in. Hell yeah. And then we'll do this again.
Fuck yeah.
Once you get more gigs and more shit,
Right.
have you back on.
Gotta do another hot box again.
That too. We gotta have some other guests. We're gonna do. Yeah, we're still gonna do
the mushroom.
the mushrooms.
Oh.
So the next time we do that, I'm gonna hit you up and we're gonna film it.
I'm down.
Yeah, so we can see how we do.
That'd be nuts.
All right, man. Midnight Rockers, peace out, y'all.
It's fun, man. It's fun.
Ha!